Bitcoin testing 74% to the apex of a symmetrical triangle. What does that mean? That's the average breakout area for a symmetrical triangle, everyone. What is going to happen in the hours ahead as we've anticipated for the last few days, this exact moment? What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that subscribe and like for the very best Bitcoin technical analysis that you're going to find on YouTube. Everyone, let's jump into this video. So before we look at this 6-hour chart, I just kind of want to go over a couple things. This is very important. And the reason why this is important is because Bitcoin, as you can see on this chart, and let me kind of delete some of these lines. I'm just zoomed out. I'm simply zoomed out on the daily chart. And if you look at Bitcoin right now, what does it look like? What does it look like? Just use your common sense if you're looking at the charts. It looks like it's getting ready to consolidate a little bit, right? Looks like it's getting ready to come back down a little bit. And we started talking about this, and this is the daily chart. We started talking about it back here. And what has it done since then? It's consolidated. It didn't keep going. As we were testing $16,000, it didn't keep going. As people were probably starting to finally buy Bitcoin, it didn't keep going. And this could be considered, and we'll find out soon, if this is kind of a short-term swing high and we're going to come back down, right? We're going to find out soon. And it really does all start with this 6-hour chart that we're in right now. One thing we have identified is this, though. One thing that we've identified is if you look at Bitcoin on the daily chart, there's room for upside, right? We're kind of hovering in that overbought area. We've been tracking this on Bitcoin. We've consolidated since then, but there's room for continued upside, both on the daily chart where we just were and this weekly chart, right? We're not in that crazy overbought territory like here's last summer, right? Bitcoin, I'm sorry, not last summer. That's the bull market high. We're not in this crazy overbought territory from the bull market high in 2017. We have ways to go on the weekly chart. But it's very important, everyone, as we're consolidating finally, that you realize that there's room for upside. But I want to also paint this picture for you. The other thing that happened on Bitcoin is this. Bitcoin, from the swing high last summer to the swing low, Bitcoin broke through this entire Fibonacci retracement. It wasn't that long ago we were talking about this as just such a key area for Bitcoin if we're going to really be approaching the bull market for that to happen. And I just don't want to discount it. I don't want to forget about it. It's a data point on the screen that we have to revisit often, because for now, if Bitcoin is getting ready to enter a bull market soon, right? If 2021 is going to be just an epic, crazy year for Bitcoin, this area down here is so important. Not only because it defined Bitcoin entering into a bullish environment, which it's now doing, but on the short term, it's important because it's a support area for Bitcoin. We're looking at 11,750 or so at the 786 line, down to the 618 line at around 10,100. And I know that sounds crazy, but we've bullishly broken through this resistance area. And Bitcoin right now can very well revisit that area. And I just have to throw that out there for you. This is Bitcoin. These are the types of moves that it does. And so I know lately I've talked about downside on this video a lot, but it's only to prepare you. We know there's upside potential. We look at targets. I'm going to talk about bullish targets in a second, but I have to prepare you mentally for these moves because they happen just as much as the bullish moves. So just be prepared for it. That area is down here. Now, keep in mind, if we look at, this is the daily chart, right? So we're looking at around, let's just say 11,800 to 10,100. And if we go to the weekly chart and expand that, where is that, right? So let me expand this. So 10,100, let's just mark it right around here. And then 11,800 right around here. Now, what is right there, right in between those two areas? What is there? It's a 20-week moving average. It's that area on the weekly chart we've been talking about time and time again on this channel. Bitcoin revisits that area all the time, no matter what part of a bull market or bull cycle it's in. That's what Bitcoin does. And you can actually even go back to, because I often, when I talk about that, I go back to just the last bull run, right? And I look at this green line, the 20-week moving average, and I just say, hey, look, Bitcoin revisited huge dips, even in a bullish environment. Get ready for it, everybody. But you can go back all the way. This chart is December 2012 now. Look at Bitcoin, what it's doing. 2012, right? Here's a nice huge wick right there, 2013. Here we fell below it briefly. Here we wicked oh my goodness. We wicked right below it, 2013, on the way up. So the historical data is there for the lifetime of Bitcoin, everyone. So if I'm sitting here talking about, and this isn't even a big dip if you really zoom out on the charts and compare it to other dips, if we're talking about the potential for a 25 to 30% dip, it's just right in front of us. So let me get off this bearish talk because I know a lot of you don't like it. I'm sorry for the people. No, I'm not sorry for the people that don't like it, but maybe this channel is not for you. But I want to go over the 6-hour chart. So here's the 6-hour chart, and everything that happens next really kind of starts here. So interestingly enough, we started saying at this swing high, man, Bitcoin needs to consolidate. It doesn't have to be a crazy just dip. It can be some sideways consolidation of some sort. And we speculatively said, would it be a symmetrical triangle, right? Because Bitcoin does that often. And what has happened in the last few days? I mean, this swing high was back in November 5th. And in 5 days, we have formed a symmetrical triangle. You see it on the screen. So we've tracked it almost perfectly. We talked about this dip before it happened. We talked about, I think, this dip before it happened. And now we're at a really interesting point on the 6-hour chart. If you look at the swing high that took place just yesterday to the swing low that took place just yesterday, you have this Fibonacci retracement that Bitcoin is kind of hovering. So Bitcoin swing high to swing low and coming back up, testing this Fibonacci retracement resistance. And what's it doing? It's just picture perfect resistance for almost every 6-hour candle that has happened since. This Fibonacci retracement we use all the time. I talk about it all the time on the zoomed in, zoomed out charts. I just love how consistent it is. It's just always consistent. So what I'm watching for right now, because we're now at the 74% to the apex of the triangle, that's the average for a Bitcoin breakout. We know, I think 60% or so of the time it's an upward breakout, especially when there's continued momentum to the upside, right? So we've been coming up, we're falling into symmetrical triangle. There's a really, really strong possibility Bitcoin explodes out of the upside, right, of the symmetrical triangle. We talked about this yesterday, right around a $17,000 target to the upside. That could be the environment where Bitcoin just finally stalls out and we get a big dip that Bitcoin typically does when it's very overbought. And, you know, from that area, if we're getting a dip, and let me just give you some perspective for price range, say we hit $17,000 and then we dip, and then we're dipping, you know, 20%. That kind of dip brings us to like into the 13,000s. That's not too bad, right? That doesn't hurt as bad as if we got a, compared to if we got a dip from where we are now of 20%. And just remember, if we did get a dip like that, that area of support would be back here, the swing high from last summer. So let's zoom back in, because this is a 6-hour chart, getting kind of messy if I zoom out. Zoom back in on the short term. If the symmetrical triangle fails, we know we have a breakdown also in play. We talked about it in yesterday's video into the 13,000s. You know, you put the breakout target right around $13,000. So we know that is in play. It's something to anticipate for Bitcoin, and we just have to be patient. We have to be patient when these things are playing out. I get people in the comments that are just like, so you're saying it could go up or down? Everyone, if you're looking for a YouTuber that's going to tell you the next Bitcoin move, number one, you're not going to find it. Well, you'll find people that do that, but they're not right unless they're getting lucky. And then number two, you're crazy for doing that. Technical analysis is to monitor the likelihood of things happening and also anticipating how you're going to react when things happen. Meaning, if Bitcoin does break out of the symmetrical triangle, there's a strong likelihood we hit a target 17,000 and Bitcoin stalls out, because at that point we're watching other charts. We're watching other indicators, namely this weekly RSI. When this thing starts hovering, and that would be a scenario, Bitcoin probably comes up to this 80 plus line on the RSI. When Bitcoin gets up here, just watch out, everyone. That's all I'm going to say. And I'll probably be talking, you know, short-term pullbacks a lot more in that environment. People won't like it, but every time historically Bitcoin has entered that area, there's been a dip, even if Bitcoin is bullish. And I'll wrap it all up by saying, everyone, I'm so bullish on Bitcoin right now. I'm so bullish on Bitcoin, but I love to anticipate these 20, 30% dips when they're getting ready to happen. And that's the only reason I continue to talk about it. So I'm just tracking this thing. I'm watching it. Trust me, I want Bitcoin just to break out to the upside. I would love to get more separation on all of these charts to the upside than where we are right now. And we know we continue to monitor. The fear index continues to come back down, which is just a great sign for overall markets in general. It's crazy. The elections are just crazy. I know all of you have your own opinions. I'm not even going to get into that. But the fact that really right now there's still a lot of drama with the elections, the fact that the fear index is continued to come down pretty substantially, right? There's a little bit of an uprising, you know, right here, but not too bad. That was yesterday. And you can just see if you go to S&P 500, that's also just seen some gains, obviously with a little bit of a retracement, but things aren't like so bleak right now on the traditional markets. And that's something to take into account for Bitcoin. So we'll track this. We'll see what Bitcoin does next. This is a 6-hour chart. You can see Bitcoin very well could fall out of the symmetrical triangle to the downside. But we'll track it. We'll see. I'm not bearish, everyone, so please don't leave those comments. I gotta say that, right? I have to. I appreciate you all cruising by. I just wanted to give a quick update. I thought this was gonna be like a 5-minute video, and it's 12 minutes now. So I hope you have a good night. Let's track this. Let's see what happens tonight. We're so close. We're just about past 74% to the apex. I'd be really surprised if we don't get a move of some sort overnight into the next few hours, into tomorrow morning. Let's track it. Let's see. It gets exciting. Hit the subscribe, everybody. Hit that like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.